one of the top searches with the name Blaire White is and actually always has been Blaire White boyfriend.
So for all intents and purposes, obviously the easiest word to describe my sexuality is straight.
All right, let's talk about Blaire White, Blaire White's boyfriend, and homosexual transsexualism as a dating strategy for gay men. Watch.
Mama, I know I'm a demon. It ain't nothing she could do but pray for me.
Gay men like Blaire White, through a combination of internalized homophobia and just wanting to expand their dating options, just pure dating strategy, want to appeal to heterosexual men.
So the topic for this week is relationships and how the way we present ourselves affects our relationships. And so naturally, finding someone for a relationship is going to be a little bit harder than a normal girl or a normal boy.
As at the time, I thought that the boys I was supposed to be going after were gay guys, but that was not the case because really, gay guys don't like this.
And of course, the kind of males who have paraphilias that lead them to be attracted to males like Blaire White are more than happy to be deemed as straight and to uphold the appearance of being straight men.
So for all intents and purposes, obviously the easiest word to describe my sexuality is straight.
He wants to be in a heterosexual relationship with men. It's like they know that they're a fetish for a lot of men.
There is a word, but it's incredibly long and sounds gross, which is why people don't use it. The word is gynandromorphophilic, which sounds like you have some kind of disease.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, so clearly people aren't going to use that word ever. In the trans community, I feel like it's really foul because people tend to call people like you chasers, which is like...
I like how his boyfriend laughs as if Blaire just totally hit the nail on the head about what he is. He's like,
which is like...
yeah, that's me. And then Blaire kind of like shoots him a look.
Which sounds derogatory, you know what I mean? Like it sounds...
He's like, oh, no, I mean, it's me.
It's like mean.
Yeah, that sounds pretty mean.
And Blaire always feeds this guy lines. He's like, yeah, that's mean. Tail between the legs.
They're these like, so they only get these chasers and stuff like that.
It's really foul because people tend to call people like you chasers, which is like... which...
No, he knows he's a chaser. And the thing is, he's never going to marry Blaire. And I think Blaire probably knows that. I don't know. Okay, so here we have a clip with Blaire White looking at old videos of himself that he did back when he was 18 and he had like an emo haircut.
And I enjoy listening to you talk. Thursday, Ryan, I just wanted to know why you didn't invite me to make cupcakes with you. Thanks.
So
what is happening?
So this was a collab channel, which used to be very popular on the internet, and it was me and a bunch of other gays.
It's like you're just harder. Everything's like hard, you know? Like,
Unfortunately, he understands that he's a gay man and it might be all good now. This guy's willing to date him or whatever, but this guy obviously more identifies as heterosexual, so he's heterosexual leaning bisexual. And it's all good now when they're 25 and they're in this generation where people are putting off starting families, but there is, once he hits 30, I think the reality of the fact that no, you're not a woman and you cannot give these straight men or these so-called straight leaning bisexual men what they really want, and you're not gonna be able to start a family. He ruined his sperm through the estradiol, progesterone, and the spirulactone, the androgen suppressant. It's important that we be honest about this sort of stuff, and he does talk about that you know, he's infertile now because of long-term exogenous cross-sex hormone abuse. Really,
this is like a different life to me. Like, maybe it sounds strange, but I have a hard time even remembering myself at this age.
And he was just a gay kid, 5'5" gay kid. And, you know, he says, you know, back before I knew I was a girl.
This was right before I was kind of figuring out, like, okay, you're a tranny bitch. And I was miserable, but I don't know why I thought this was entertaining or people wanted to see this.
And it's like, okay, once again, here comes more lies and more self-exposures. You, in your Jubilee debate, you sat there and talked about how you always knew that you were trans. You were trans from a young age.
Different things that I experience personally.
I cannot believe that I grew up as, you know, this 5-year-old little kid experiencing just crippling gender dysphoria, like horrible thoughts, struggled so much my entire life to be sitting in this room and you're explaining to her what dysphoria is.
I have my experience. It
It's
doesn't mean that I
amazing.
didn't have crippling.
You got a different
It
experience.
doesn't mean
You
that
got a
I-
different
oh my God,
experience.
we all have a
different
different experience.
Which makes us different.
That's how you know that you're the true transsexual. And you had no idea anything about it until you heard about it, you know, as an adult.
This was right before I was kind of figuring out, like, okay, you're a tranny bitch. And I was miserable, but I don't know why I thought this was entertaining or people wanted to see this. This is so...
Okay, so in all seriousness, I do have other talents. My main one being writing. I write short stories, long stories.
I still...
Am I tripping, or do you sound like totally different?
Oh yeah, my voice... I really don't know what it is. It is like estrogen does not change your voice, but for some reason my voice is higher now. Oh my god,
you look really boy-like in that one.
Oh my god, you look really boy-like in that one.
I look like every person I've ever made fun of on my channel.
Yeah, weren't you super liberal at this point too?
I was.
Like a vegan and stuff?
That's why I feel like I have the right to make fun of them, because I was one of them. Remember this video? It was me, like, I was crying because of some boy. I had never even had a boyfriend at this point, but I was making a video about how some boy broke my heart. I knew nothing about heartbreak at this point.
Right. So, yeah. And then you talk about how dating was hard because, you know, a lot of the gay men didn't want you, and a lot of the men who you want didn't want you. And once you transition to a woman, suddenly you have this big open dating pool of, straight presenting men, gyneandromorphophiles. It's all sexual dating strategy for gay men, this homosexual transsexualism.
So the topic for this week is relationships and how the way we present ourselves affects our relationships. And so naturally, finding someone for a relationship is going to be a little bit harder than a normal girl or a normal boy.
That's adorable. Honestly, that was kind of cute.
I mean, what I was speaking to at this point was pretty true. I did have a hard time finding boys who liked me because at the time I thought that the boys I was supposed to be going after were gay guys. But that was not the case because really, gay guys don't like this. Gay guys like guys. And even at this point, I was way too feminine to be anything a gay guy would like. So it wasn't until I transitioned that I realized there was a big field and pool of men that I could choose from.
And it's men who end up like, you know, not wanting to commit to them or be with them. Maybe we'll like, you know, fuck them behind closed doors when it push comes to shove. Like, well, no, I don't actually want to be with you. And I understand, okay, that's hurtful, whatever.
And so naturally, finding someone for a relationship is going to be a little bit harder than a normal girl or a normal boy.
Like, if, you know, I was just a woman, like, you know, then you'd want to be with me forever. You know, part of the reason why they want to go in the women's spaces is so that when they're on a date with their little, like I said, straight guy, and they're like, oh, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. He's not walking into the men's room, you know, because he knows that those straight, like the so-called straight dudes, these bisexual dudes who are like low-key bisexual, who like, you know, hold themselves out as straight, are going to be embarrassed if their date is going into the men's room. So they can be like, oh, I'm going into the women's room.
You're attracted to biological and trans women. That's kind of what that is.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so some people would say, well, maybe that's bisexual, but not really, because the definition of bisexual doesn't fit that either.
Genevieve Gluck says it's ridiculous to think that getting a bunch of plastic surgery, one, makes one female, or two, the children aren't going to see this and interpret it.
But it's like having a friend that's like only into pregnant chicks or something, you know? And it'll be like, so what is it about pregnant chicks?
Weird.
It is weird. Think about it. I like you and you're trans. What are the chances of that?
You're trans, what are the chances of that?
Everyone always has questions about who you dated in the past, which I don't really like thinking about who you dated in the past, but who did you typically date?
I dated tall girls.
You
So
dated tall.
if anything, they were kind of manly. But they weren't men. They were just really tall.
How tall was your last girlfriend?
She was like 6 feet tall. She was just as tall as me. Pretty much.
Oh my
she was
God.
very tall. Yeah.
I'm 5'5", by the way. I'm not even close.
No, you're short.
Gay guys like guys, and even at this point, I was way too feminine to be anything a gay guy would like. So it wasn't until I transitioned that I realized there was a big field and pool of men that I could choose from.
So is this really a true transsexual? Is this somebody who has truly a girl brain, or is this just a effeminate gay man who is trying to be strategic so that he can expand his sexual dating options? You tell me. And how is this not homophobic conversion therapy for homosexuals? Internalized homophobia is real, and it is a hallmark of the trans community. Until next time, see you later.